school directors will please come to order. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Director Leonard.
Present.
Director O'Halloran.
Here.
Director Seamson has asked to be excused. Director Zombor.
Present.
And Chair Carr.
Here.
There are 4 members present.
Thank you. The chair will now ask the secretary to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The chair invites any members of the audience who wish to participate to do so, and asks that those who do not wish to participate please remain silent during the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin tonight's meeting, we have a short announcement regarding interpretation services for the Spanish-speaking members of our audience.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a la Junta Escolar de las Escuelas Públicas de Milwaukee. Si desea escuchar esta reunión en español, por favor llame al 312-626-6799. Nuevamente, 312-626-6799. E introduzca el número de reunión 608-130-5362. Nuevamente, el número de reunión es 608-130-5362. Gracias.
This meeting is being conducted in person from the Central Services Building. In order to allow as much public access and participation as possible, this meeting is also being broadcast via live stream on the MPS website and on the MPS YouTube stream, the links to which may be found on the MPS website on the broadcast page. For each of our items of business, we will hold a discussion and public hearing. We have no virtual speakers registered for tonight. Members of the audience who wish to speak should fill out a speaker slip and bring it to our secretary, Ms. Koala. When you are called upon to speak, please state your name and spell your last name for the record. For the sake of fairness and to give everyone a chance to speak, the chair reserves the right to limit the length of time allowed to any one speaker. Written testimony will be accepted for transmittal to the board. Send this testimony to the Office of Board Governance, P.O. Box 2181, Milwaukee, Wisconsin 53201-2181, or fax to 414-475-8071, or email it to governance@milwaukee.k12.wi.us. Just as a reminder, Robert's Rules of Order dictates that all comments should be directed to the chair of the committee. Also, any questions or requests, including those from the public, committee members, or the administration, are to be directed towards the chair, who will determine the most efficient way to address them. For the safety of all and to ensure the good order of the meeting, harassment or intimidation tactics of any kind will not be tolerated. Anyone who engages in such harassing or intimidating words or actions will immediately be asked to cease. If such behavior continues, a recess will be called and the offending parties will be removed from the meeting. Anyone ejected from the meeting may continue to listen to the meeting or access the agenda items online. However, the individual will not be allowed to rejoin the meeting. Also, no one other than members of the board, designated staff, and those who have been invited to present or participate in items of business will be allowed on the stage before, during, or after meetings of the board and its committees. Finally, for our listening audience, if you wish to access this evening's agenda items and attachments online, you may do so by visiting the meetings, agendas, and minutes page of the MPS website. Now, let's begin. Madam Secretary, item 1.
Item 1 is a report with possible action on services provided to students with disabilities in the least restrictive environment, LRE. This is an informational item. Although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Would the administration please present the item?
Madam Chair and members of the committee, Keith Posley, Superintendent of Schools. The item before you on this evening's agenda is to report on the services provided to students with disabilities in the least restricted environment, LRE. Travis Pinter, Senior Director of Specialized Services, will provide an overview of this report and guide us through the presentation, following which we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. And now I turn it over to Dr. Travis Pinter. He defended today at 3 o'clock. So Dr. Pinter, take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Posley. Chair Carr, members of the committee, Dr. Travis Pinter, Senior Director of Specialized Services. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. The LRE, or Least Restrictive Environment data, is now reported to the board twice a year. The November report allows us to compare the start of the school year with how we ended the 22-23 year in the spring. I'll be referencing the second page of the first attachment in my summary. Has that table on there. If you'd like to follow along, you will note the three indicators associated with LRE, 5A, B, and C. The state has set a threshold for each indicator that we are aiming to surpass. They're listed on the top there. In the case of 5A, it is a minimum, so we aim to be above that percentage. In the cases of 5B and C, it is a maximum threshold, so we aim to be below that percentage. In all three indicators, you'll note that we continue to move in the right direction when comparing May to our October numbers. We've increased 5A toward nearly 88% and decreased 5B down to nearly 11% and 5C down to 0.15%. One reason for our continued growth in these areas is our emphasis on inclusion of our students with special education services alongside our regular education peers to every extent possible, including school specials in art, phy-ed, and music. Recent PD has specifically addressed this, and we also continue to experience success in our bridging units, which provide our students in special education with more time in the regular education environment with supports. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Leonard?
So one question I have actually comes from the first page of the report, not this first page of this one that you just read from. Just out of curiosity, for my sake, I just wanted some clarity. When it says non-NPS schools, when we're looking at those differences in those charts, is that charter schools or is that, what exactly are we referring to?
Administration?
Director Leonard, Chair Carr, members of the committee, those are like our non-instrumentality charters and
Okay,
that we have within the NPS system.
thank you. And then just a statement, I can never let this go. Sorry, and I probably have said this in the preceding at least several times, to say the least, but for the listening audience, if there's anybody that has any idea of why we asked for 60% reimbursement for regards to our special education budget. I had a chance to go over all the lists of special ed students in voucher schools as compared to us. And except for 14 schools throughout the whole state, most of them carry less than a half a percentage point of special ed students. And they're receiving a 99% reimbursement rate, if I understand that correctly. Whereas you'll see our numbers just by looking at that 5A percentage list, and I know we want to bring that up, I know that's very good, but it just shows the numbers, raw numbers, and the percentages of how much we carry in this district by itself. I won't go over all the details. It took me 3 hours to go through all of it, and I said, oh my gosh, Ms. Mims Howe will kill me if I start talking for 2 hours. But I'm just kidding. All right, sorry. But anyway, I just had to say that for the listening public. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other members who wish to speak? All right. Are there any members of the public who wish to make comments?
We have no speaker requests, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item 2, a report on family and community engagement. This is an informational item.
Would the administration please present when you're ready?
Madam Chair and members of the committee, the item before you on this evening's agenda is a report regarding family and community engagement. Christy Stone will provide an overview and guide us through the presentation along with our guest, Holly McCoy, Executive Director of Literacy Services. Upon the conclusion of the presentation, we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have in regards to this item. Christy, take it away.
Good evening, Chair Carr and members of the committee. My name is Christy Stone, Director of Strategic Partnerships and Customer Service. I'm pleased to have the opportunity this evening to present an update on family and community engagement. As we look at the 5 priorities for success, family engagement is a critical component across all 5 areas. This evening's presentation particularly aligns with increasing academic achievement and accountability and strengthening communication and collaboration. This evening, we would like to highlight our partnership with Literacy Services of Wisconsin. This partnership has been in existence since 2012 and allows the district to not only focus on educating students, but the family as a whole. Literacy Services creates pathways to help support adult learners as they progress through their academic journey. They are currently located at both North and South Division high schools to help families achieve the highest possible success. I would like to introduce Holly McCoy, Executive Director of Literacy Services of Wisconsin, to share more about this exciting partnership. Holly?
Thank you. Chair Carr and members of the committee, my name is Holly McCoy. I'm the Executive Director for Literacy Services of Wisconsin. Literacy Services of Wisconsin is the largest comprehensive adult education provider in the state of Wisconsin. Adults enroll in our services for a wide range of academic programs. Some adults want to improve their reading and math skills to enroll in college or prepare for further training. Others are interested in completing their high school diploma. Many students who attend literacy services have moved to Wisconsin from all over the world and are interested in learning more about the English language. Last year, Literacy Services provided English language learning classes to students representing 60 different countries. Literacy Services has 8 locations. As mentioned, we provide educational programming on site at MPS schools. We are also located in downtown Milwaukee and Waukesha. We are co-located at Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, and we are on site at the Milwaukee County Jail. We also provide pre-apprenticeship HSED programming at WRTP Big Step, Racine Youthful Offender Center, and Racine Correctional Institution. Last year, we supported over 1,000 adult students in achieving their academic goals. We assisted 167 students in completing their high school equivalency diplomas. To put that number in context, an average Milwaukee organization that provides GED HSED services typically has about 13 graduates per year. Literacy Services also works with hundreds of volunteers who provide one-on-one individualized tutoring to further support the efforts of adults looking to achieve their academic goals. This is our comprehensive services model. The most important aspect of this slide is to illustrate our organization's commitment to meeting our students where they're at academically, no matter what. In adult education, students enroll and take a test of adult basic education, the TABE. TABE scores are used to determine the academic levels of students and then provide them with programming that challenges them, yet provides them with a clear pathway from their current skill levels to their ultimate academic goals. The TABE scores on either side of this model are aligned with the National Reporting System levels. No matter what a student's academic level may be, when they enroll at Literacy Services, we are able to meet them where they are at, provide supportive services and programming, and help them navigate what is needed to ensure that they are on the path to success. As with any standardized test, we recognize that the results are not a full assessment of a student's academic performance. We ensure that students are post-tested throughout our program and enrolled in classes that are appropriate to support their goals. This model is unique to Literacy Services and speaks to our commitment to make sure that everyone who is interested and willing has access to quality educational programming that is moving them forward and addressing the barriers that many adult students often experience. At the bottom of this model, you'll notice that the goals of our students are very different. Not all these goals are represented here, but we do highlight the highest percentage of goals self-reported at enrollment. We have several partnerships that facilitate workforce and post-secondary enrollment. For example, our partnership with Milwaukee Area Technical College is instrumental in ensuring that students are able to transition to college. Last year, 47% of our graduates enrolled at MATC. Now, I would like to walk you through each of our programs. 25% of adults in Milwaukee County struggle with low literacy. That means 1 of 4 community members are functioning at or below a 3rd grade level. Literacy Services is the only adult education program in southeastern Wisconsin that offers a program to specifically approach reading for adults who have limited to no literacy skills. This is a research-based program focusing on foundational literacy and provides supportive instruction throughout. The state of Wisconsin offers options for alternative education. Literacy Services is an authorized Pearson VUE GED testing center, and we have a chief examiner on staff. The GED is one of the most widely recognized secondary credentials. The GED consists of 4 exams that require folks to pass a state-mandated civics exam, which all of you are familiar with. Although the GED is normed to align with college standards and can be challenging for adults re-engaging with their academic studies to complete, we have seen an increase in the number of GED completers over the last couple of years. The High School Equivalency Diploma, or HSED, is specific to Wisconsin and is a competency-based program. Literacy Services is licensed to administer this program through the Department of Public Instruction. Students engage with peers in a cohort program 4 days a week, 4 hours a day, to complete thoughtful assignments that offer them opportunities to reflect, enhance their writing and communication skills, navigate group projects and discussions, and so much more. This program was initially offered in person. Since the pandemic, we have delivered this program virtually. It offers additional flexibility, reduces barriers related to childcare and transportation, and offers students technology to access the course through our partnership with United Way. Literacy Services also provides English language learning opportunities for adults. Beyond ELL classes, we have additional programming for English learners that is specific to our organization and our commitment to creating learning spaces for our adults that are inclusive and address the various academic and life goals of our students. The High School Equivalency Diploma for English learners is a first-of-its-kind program that pairs our traditional HSED with a language acquisition and development course to simultaneously offer a high school credential while providing supportive and contextualized curriculum to support immigrant and refugee students. We also provide support through community partners in the preparation for citizenship exam and the naturalization process. This past summer, we initiated a project to expand ELL services on site at several MPS elementary schools. While this pilot is still in the beginning phase, we are currently at 3 elementary schools serving close to 40 parents. We are working with MPS staff to continue to identify schools and expand efforts through the fall of 2024. With all of this programming, it is important to keep in mind that we recognize education isn't a one-size-fits-all, especially for adults. We make sure that we are offering several different class formats that allow students to engage in a way that feels good for them. I noted that we have several partnerships, but I would like to highlight one specifically that has been recognized by the U.S. Department of Education. Our partnership with WRTP Big Step, the Wisconsin Regional Training Partnership Building Industry Skilled Trades Employment Program, the longest acronym ever, is unique. WRTP is a bridge to the building trades and offers many pre-apprenticeship programs. Literacy Services and WRTP aligned credentialing programs from our respective organizations to implement integrated education and training programs that offer students the ability to not only co-enroll, but take courses concurrently and earn both credentials at the same time. The programming is hands-on, and we offer both a construction and manufacturing HSED. Our most recent cohort of manufacturing HSED students was 100% employed on graduation day. While Literacy Services programming is vast and our locations many, I would like to focus on our partnership with y'all at MPS. Here are last year's numbers. Together, we served 224 parents and families. We supported 99 students in increasing their academic levels, also known as measurable skill gains, and 103 GED HSED graduates. Within those parents and families captured here in the data, we connected to 111 different MPS schools throughout the district. Since our partnership began in 2012, we have provided educational programming to thousands of parents and families throughout the district. To put that in perspective, since the onset of the pandemic, we have provided 771 adult parents and families with foundational adult education and English learning classes. 300 parents and family members have obtained their high school diplomas. Since we are always meeting or exceeding our contract goals, the average cost per student to MPS is about $505. Next, I want to share a video about the direct impact that adult education has on the children of parents and families engaging in our programming. Cortland's story is directly related to MPS. He left MPS as a teenager and found our shared program as an adult.
My life was good, but when it came down to school, it was challenging because I didn't understand a lot. So I felt like if you asked questions, you were stupid. So I kept quiet. And so by allowing it to build up, it made me not want to go back to school. And when I was younger, after like the 3-4 years of me dropping out, it was hitting me hard. So I was like, man, I want to do it. I want to finish.
In the early part of his time here at Literacy Services, his reading skills were quite low, and he wasn't as comfortable with asking for help with the basic pieces that he needed.
I fold under pressure. When too much coming my way, I fold. I'm like, and I quit it. I quit doing something.
There were those stopping points that he felt uncomfortable and felt like, I don't know how to work through this, so I'm just going to stop and I need to take a break.
I was getting to a point like, okay, I'm learning, I'm getting what I need. I dropped out again.
I know that there were many things that were barriers to his showing up here. And every time we lost him for a little bit, we just hoped that we would see him again.
I came to Lizzie surgery like 3 times. I came here like 3 times just to, get my education. And I just thank God that they would continue to give me an opportunity and didn't give up on me. And they still had open arms and, to help me. So I was telling my kids, like, you want something bad enough, don't give up on it. You want it bad enough, you got to work hard for it. And it's going to be hard. Things that come your way is going to be hard. And as I was preaching that to my kids, I was thinking about my own life. I'm like, yeah, this is one of the tasks that I needed to complete. I can't just preach something to them and not do it myself. So that's what I did. That's what motivated me to really be consistent this time.
He had made a commitment to himself and his family.
I think what kept bringing Cortland back was his desire to finally gain this credential, this high school diploma, and move on with his life and be the successful person that he knows he can be and we know he can be.
Oh, that means a lot. That means a lot that I can just, I can rest easy knowing that I did it. And that's the thing. That's exactly what it is, like being at peace in the mind, knowing that I did it. I still go forward because I got little people dependent on me. So I got to do what I have to do. I can't set that type of example for them. So, I got to teach them. I'm going to teach them about confidence. I got to have it myself. A lot of stuff is not going to go the way you want it. It's going to stuff is going to always keep coming at you. It's all about how much can you take. You going to lay there or you going to fight? My life was good, but when it came down to school, it was challenging because I didn't understand.
Okay. I would like to thank the Milwaukee Public School Board of Directors for your support of parent and family engagement in this way. The cyclical impacts of an investment in adult literacy are evident. A children's literacy begins with their parents. A mother's education level is the greatest determinant of her children's future academic success, outweighing all other factors such as family income. If our community is struggling with this silent crisis of adult literacy, with only 1 of 4 community members reading at or below a 3rd grade level, Consider the implications on the K-12 student who needs support at 4th grade or above, and what a program like this means for those who engage in it. By supporting parents and families interested in furthering their academic goals, you are providing opportunities for folks to engage more with their children's homework, level up their workforce skills and earnings, and bolster a truly holistic approach to education. Thank you for recognizing that adult literacy is family literacy, and we are collectively working towards the same community goals.
That concludes our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director O'Halloran?
Thank you. So I'm just trying to understand this, kind of the footprint. So for the services that are offered at North and South Division, can you clarify which services those are? And then it sounds like we have ELL support services then at the 3 that are kind of in a pilot program. So can you just tell me what the North, so I think I understand that one. Can you just tell me what services are offered at North and South, please?
Chair Carr and members of the committee, yes. So the North Division, we traditionally see adult education services, so that would be reading, writing, math, and then we also provide the HSED program out of North Division High School. We have occasionally had English language learners attend that particular location, but more often than not, that's what's provided at South Division. So we're responsive to the needs of the learners on site, so that can look different depending on what that is. The pandemic has shifted how we provide those services to parents and families. We also have changed rooms a couple times at each of those buildings, which has presented its own number of challenges. So we continue to work with our school partners to navigate that. And then the pilot at the 3 elementary schools, we initially, when we started this partnership with Milwaukee Public Schools, we were located at Washington High School and North Division High School. At some point that switched. But essentially the idea was that we would be located at high schools so that community members could access those programs as well. And so they didn't initially want them at elementary schools. Now with the ELL pilot, we're on-site at elementary schools providing services to just those parents of those schools or surrounding schools.
Any follow-up?
So how do we make parents and families aware of these services? Like, our parent coordinators, are they doing individual outreach, or is it kind of blanket messaging to parents? How do we make sure that the people who need these services, which it sounds like you're quite successful at, how do we make sure that families know that they can come to us and come to you for that?
Administration?
Chair Carr and members of the committee. So we are occasionally in the newsletter. We work very closely with Director Stone's team, and then we also work directly with the parent coordinators. So we present to the parent coordinators a couple of times a year. We're also in constant contact with Daryl Hall, who is in Director Stone's office. So we're all working together to make sure that parents, have the information. We also, during the pandemic, have an online enrollment process now too. So a lot of times folks, when they're like, I want to do this, they can just go on and sign up for an enrollment appointment online and then pick the corresponding location, which does include our MPS locations as well.
All righty. Any other members of the committee? Director Zambor?
Thank you, Chair Carr. What would you say is the biggest barrier for adult completion, and is there anything we can do to help?
Administration?
Chair Carr and members of the committee, the barriers that I mentioned, transportation, childcare, those are things that definitely get in the way. The pandemic opened our eyes to the possibilities that exist with virtual education. And so when students are at the academic level that they can, engage in virtual instruction, we've found that that does decrease some of the barriers that have previously existed. I think also, when it comes to just life and needing to work to support a family, we try to offer as many class times as possible for students, but sometimes, it can't be a priority for them right now. So our biggest goal is always letting folks know that when they're ready to come back, they can always come back. Because we don't want to create any additional, stigma or shame in terms of them completing that goal. So it does vary, right, from student to student. And I think just the programs being available to students is kind of what helps them decide to come back.
Any follow-up? Director Leonard?
So we've met a couple times, I think, yes. So first of all, I did see and had a chance to talk to some of your representatives at the Milwaukee Tool event. Big Step was there. And that added component to what we're doing with that group of apprenticeship students is really valuable, so I thank you for that. And then I was going to ask you, and I know what it was. I don't know if you can answer this or not. So for students that are ELL that come new to this country, so let's say they're in 8th or 9th grade and they don't get the English proficiency skills that they really need by the time they leave MPS, are you in line for them to sort of give them the information on how you could help them go further?
Administration?
Chair Carter, members of the committee, I just want to clarify the question you're asking. So are you saying that students who attended MPS after they complete at MPS and then come to our
That's,
program?
I guess
Or are
I'm
you
wondering.
asking if they do?
I'm wondering if they are coming to you. So the reason I'm saying this is because when I worked with immigrant populations on English as a second language and as citizenship, I would say I was not doing anywhere near the great job that you guys are doing, okay, to be very honest. But I did see a need for many of our high school students or even middle school students. They didn't have those skills, and they had a lot of fears because they were going to be leaving MPS, and they weren't really ready. They were honest with me. They would say, I'm not ready yet.
Administration?
Chair Carr and members of the committee, we do, upon enrollment, we do track where students have either concluded, right, like earned their high school diploma and then come on to literacy services, or what the last grade they completed and what school that was. So we do have all that data. And yes, we do provide those services to MPS students, either who have graduated or who did not complete their high school diploma with Milwaukee Public Schools and then come to us to complete their high school diploma.
Excellent, excellent. How long have you guys been doing this? How many years?
Chair Carr and members of the committee, 60 years next year.
Oh,
But we've been with Milwaukee Public Schools since 2012.
okay. Very good. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Are there any members of the public who registered to speak?
We have no speaker requests for this item.
All right, thank you. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item 3, an update with possible action on enhancing educational communities and school climate. This is an informational item. Although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Will the administration please present the item?
Madam Chair and members of the committee, this evening we bring to you an update on enhancing educational communities and school climate. This report will focus on the district's proactive strategies used to support children and school teams through a variety of these interventions. To present this item, I have with me Mr. John Jagman, District Discipline Manager, joined by Mr. Jeffrey Gaddis, the Principal of Bayview High School. Following their presentation, we'll be more than happy to entertain any questions that you may have. Mr. Jagman.
Thank you, Dr. Posley. Chair Carr, members of the committee, John Jagman, District Discipline Manager. As Dr. Posley said, we are also joined by Jeffrey Gaddis. He will be speaking at the end about some of the work they're doing at Bayview High School to lower their suspensions. As always, we want to center ourselves on the 5 priorities for success. In this work, we are specifically looking at how we are developing our staff in efforts to improve district and school culture that will lead to an increase in academic achievement and accountability. For the 2023-2024 school year, we are focusing on 4 pathways. This is how it is laid out in our district improvement plan and in each individual school improvement plan. We have our PBIS tiered interventions as a pathway, mental wellness, anti-racism and anti-bias, and restorative practices. Each school has the teams of their PBIS Tier 1, the Building Intervention Team, or BIT, and the Student Discipline Committee at the middle and high schools that are leading this work. We are focusing on proactive approaches, systems, and strategies. First, some updates within PBIS tiered interventions. Again, we have those school Tier 1 teams. Monthly, they pull data and they look at various locations, behaviors, students that need that additional support. All of their minutes are taken and are uploaded into their school improvement plan. There are a variety of collaborative professional developments that have been offered. They are part of the Teacher Institute and part of the Principal Leadership Institute on a monthly basis. The schools that have selected PBIS as their pathway have a little bit deeper work on their PBIS, and those are the schools that have not met fidelity on their annual fidelity check. The PBIS team has also created a walkthrough tool that the PBIS coaches go to the schools and collaborate with school team members to do a little walkthrough tool and look for their areas of growth in the PBIS framework. Within mental wellness, they have also developed a variety of professional development, all available through LMS for school staff to enroll with. They have started the implementation of the Resilience in School Environments, or RISE grant, at 6 schools. They are also working with the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction. They have created a trauma-sensitive schools fidelity tool. The district has been working on implementing trauma-sensitive schools for a few years in collaboration with DPI. Now DPI has created a fidelity tool that the schools are using to kind of see, again, areas of strength and areas of growth. There is also a Compassion Resilience series that MPS helped co-create about 9 years ago with DPI. It has been conducted throughout the years since then. This school year, members of violence prevention are going into each PLI and doing parts of that Compassion Resilience series with our school leaders. Within anti-racism and anti-bias, all schools have identified their climate equity liaison. It's a kind of growth from our former discipline champion at each school to continue to focus on those proactive supports and those equity supports that we have. We have conducted courageous conversations about race on a monthly basis. We also, 2 weeks ago, hosted our first MPS facilitated Beyond Diversity session, which is the 2-day Courageous Conversations About Race seminar. We have our District Equity Leadership Team, or DELT, that meets on a monthly basis with members from a variety of departments, looking at that leadership piece of our equity across the district. Earlier in October, we had our Student Leadership Summit with students from all traditional middle and high schools, meeting together to collaborate and talk about some of their directions and goals they have for the year. At the Student Leadership Summit, each school team created an action plan from student voice, and throughout the year they're going to gather additional student voice to help monitor the implementation of these plans. Looking at our 3-year plan with Courageous Conversations About Race, through October, we have held 120 total sessions since March 1st, 2021. We have had 8,310 total staff members attend. You can see our little timeline there of sessions per month throughout, again, starting in March 1st. We are looking at about 1,300 staff members remaining before our March 1st, 2024, and we are in a great spot to be getting that with ease at this point. And then the last pathway is restorative practices. They are continuing with their readiness cohort and their exploration cohort. Those are schools that are starting to get ready and explore the possibility of expanding their restorative practices. And then they have the restorative practices implementation teams. Those are the schools that get 20+ hours of in-school coaching from one of the restorative practices coaches. They're also developing a new professional development series looking at racial justice, restorative mindsets, and how to foster a restorative environment, building community, and how do we center students in curriculum. So they've looked at a lot of their PD that they've offered over the years. They've integrated some of the Courageous Conversations About Race protocols and just updated it through that lens of centering students in the curriculum. Some of the next steps we are looking at in those 4 pathways, again, we are continuing with at least one monthly courageous conversation about race session. Most months we have 2 or 3. We also are offering school modules on disciplinary practices. The first one was rolled out to all schools last week. The second module will be rolled out in 2 weeks, and then the third module right before winter break. These are being conducted at the school level on disciplinary practices and some of the resources that are out there. We also have Principal Leadership Institute presentations on a monthly basis in a variety of those 4 pathways, and those school-based teams meet monthly, and the school coaches at the central office level review those minutes and provide feedback and coaching based on those minutes. I will now turn it over to Jeffrey Gaddis.
Good evening, Director Carr and members of the committee. My name is Jeffrey Gaddis, proud principal of Bayview High School, home of the Red Cats. I want to thank the committee this evening for allowing me this opportunity to share some of the work that we're doing at Bayview. As of third Friday, Bayview serves 964 students. Our incoming freshman has 254 students. They come from a variety of schools, but our top feeder schools are Wedgwood with 20, Parkside with 18, Toll Bridge with 11, Lincoln Center of the Arts and O.W. Holmes both have 10. Our demographic data shows we have 46.5% African American, 32.5% Hispanic, 8.5% white, 5.6% Asian. 12.5% of our students have English as a second language. 26.2% of our students are identified as special needs students. Our current attendance rate is 76.2%, which is 1% higher than last year. Our current suspension rate is down. Our suspension rate is 8.3%, which represents a 7.2% reduction from this same time last year. Referrals are down 106, and suspensions are down 34. Our goal at Bayview is to make sure that teaching and learning takes place from day one. We've been fully staffed since the beginning of the school year. Restorative practices is a way our staff can work better with our students. As a school, we have implemented restorative practices with our staff and now are a part of the restorative practice exploration cohort for this school year. We're moving towards whole school restorative practices with Fidelity. We have partnered with the BMLA department, and we have a group of young men they've been working with for 2 years. We also have partnered with Flood the Hood with Dreams, which provides health and mental conflict resolution. This consists of another group of young men, and this is going on our 3rd year working with them. We also have partnered with My Sister's Keeper, which help female students build upon healthy ways by expressing oneself, confidence building, embracing pain, both past and present. This is our 2nd year with that. We also partner and have violence-free zone in our building. They help build healthy relationships with our students, and because of that, our students have another person to turn to if a problem occurs during school, and also if they need advice outside of school. City Year, we have another very important partner with us. They're a tremendous assistance to our 9th grade students and teachers. Over the last 4 years, 5 former City Year mentors have become part of the teaching staff at Bayview. For culturally and responsive teaching, we use Ngodi Muhammad's book, Cultivating Genius, as our guide. We're focused on improving student engagement through teaching and learning model that has a 4-layered framework, which is identity, skills development, intellect, and critically. This framework is essential for all our students, especially for students who traditionally have been marginalized in learning standards, schools policies, and classroom practices. For our academic piece, we have 8 advanced placement courses, 5 honors courses, 1 dual enrollment course. We have a total of 248 students enrolled in those courses. All 254 9th graders are enrolled in 3DE by junior achievement, which is an instructional model where students learn to solve real-world business problems, working in teams, working on skills that are essential for life after high school. We also have our NAF Academy, which is known as our National Academy Foundation. It's an educational nonprofit organization. The goal is to bring education, business, and community leaders together to transform the high school experience for our students. We have 2 NAF academies. We have the Academy of Hospitality and Tourism, and we have the Academy of Engineering. We have a total of 643 students enrolled in either one of the academies, and we have 37 of those students are enrolled in both. This year, we brought back student council. It was very important for me to have student voice in a lot of things we do. We've had a pep rally. We've had a student-led Hispanic Heritage Program. On Fridays, is our Bayview Spirit Days. They wear Bayview hoodies, T-shirts, or red and black staff and students. Our honor roll, we just had 192 students on our honor roll for our first term, and we're going to honor them by having an ice cream social for them. We have a breakfast for champions for our 9th grade students, and these are students who show great academics, great attendance, and great attitude. We just celebrated them today. And lastly, we had our annual staff chili throwdown. For the last couple years, a staff member has won, but this is the first year we've had a group of students who beat out the staff members for our chili throwdown. Our PBIS committee gives shout-outs daily to our students for doing the right thing in class. That happens every 5th period. Some student name is read over the announcements and they get something. But also, you know, for the school experience through the day, we offer a variety of after-school opportunities with our partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. We have athletics, we have the major sports like everybody else, but we take pride in the vast amount of club opportunities to meet our student interests. These clubs include art club, yearbook club, robotics, gaming, martial arts, book club, anime, Dungeons and Dragons, and that's just a few clubs we have. This allows the clubs to fully engage in their school and build relationships through common interests. About 15% of our students stay after school for our CLC program. In closing, I would like to thank the committee for this opportunity to share about the great things that are going on at Bayview. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh,
So Chair Carr, members of the committee, that concludes our presentation. We are open for any questions.
thank you. Do committee members wish to make comments or ask questions? Director O'Halloran.
Thank you, and I just wanted to thank Mr. Gaddis for coming to present about Bayview High School. I just want to, anecdotally share that every time I come to this school, whether it's for the NAF advisory board meetings, the STEAM fairs, going for the open house, I'm always so impressed with the students and staff in your building. I think some people in the community may carry an outdated image of what they think Bayview is, but that may have been what Bayview was, but I can attest that that is not what Bayview is. And for anybody who is listening, who's interested in getting involved with like the NAF Academy, I know we have another meeting coming up this month. And thank you for the update on who won the staff, the chili contest. I didn't stick around to, see all the votes tabulated, but, there's so many ways for community members to get involved with Bayview High School, and I think that we would welcome everybody's energy in celebrating and strengthening the program there. And with that, I will just put my soapbox away and just say that it's a pleasure and an honor to represent Bayview High School in District 8, and thank you so much for all of your work.
Thank you. Any other members of the committee? Director Zomber?
Thank you, Director Carr. Would you be able to say about how many, and if you know this answer, how many AmeriCorps members you have at your school right now?
Through city year?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we have 7.
No follow-up? No, okay. Any members of the public wish to make comments?
We have no speaker requests for this item, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, that was the last item on tonight's agenda.
All righty, there being no further business before the committee, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you and have a great evening.